Someone parked Jennifer Kesse's car at an apartment complex over a mile from her home, and a surveillance camera captured them doing it. This should have been the break that solved everything. But in every single frame, a fence post perfectly obscured the suspect's face. Not one usable image. The luckiest criminal ever caught on camera walked away completely unidentified, and how that is even possible is only the beginning of this story. Jennifer Kesse seemed to have everything lined up for a bright future. At just 24 years old, she had already landed a finance manager role at Westgate Resorts in Orlando, a position that spoke to her drive and confidence. Her days were busy but structured, filled with spreadsheets and meetings, but she always found time for the people she loved. Jennifer's parents, Drew and Joyce, lived 2 hours away in Tampa, yet their bonds stayed tight. They kept a family rule, always answer each other's calls no matter what. Her brother Logan shared that same closeness, making the Kesses a family that checked in, celebrated and worried together. Jennifer had recently taken a big step toward independence. She purchased her own condo at the Mosaic at Millenia, a modern complex not far from Orlando's bustling attractions. Moving in was a milestone, proof that her hard work was paying off. The place was new, bright and full of possibility. Friends described her as outgoing and dependable, someone who lit up a room but never let anyone down. She was careful, responsible, and always let people know where she was going. Just days before everything changed, Jennifer returned from a vacation with her boyfriend, Rob Allen. They had met at a trade show in Orlando and quickly became inseparable, even as their relationship meant juggling long-distance calls and weekend visits. The trip left her glowing, and she recounted every detail to her mother on the drive to work. Jennifer loved to share her happiness. She wanted everyone around her to feel it too. For Jennifer, life was a careful balance of ambition, family, and joy. She was building something, a career, a home, a future. And in that ordinary routine, surrounded by people who adored her, nothing seemed out of place. Until the morning she vanished. Tuesday, January 24th began with Jennifer Kesse's usual routine. Between 7:30 and 8 a.m, she likely left her Orlando condo for work. The bathroom told its own story. A wet shower, a towel left behind, work clothes laid out, makeup untouched. Jennifer's purse, phone and keys were missing, but she had not called or texted her boyfriend. A break from habit that felt immediately wrong. By 8 a.m, calls to her phone went straight to voicemail. Rob Allen kept dialing, each ring met with silence. At Westgate Resorts, her absence was noticed. Jennifer never missed work without warning. By 11 a.m, a co-worker reached out to her parents in Tampa. Drew and Joyce Kesse, used to their daughter's constant updates, felt unease settle in. Joyce later recalled that her phone never went to voicemail, not once. The Kesses left Tampa, a 2-hour drive that stretched with every mile. Desperation grew. On the way, they asked the condo manager to check Jennifer's unit. Nothing seemed out of place, but her car was gone. By 3 p.m, Drew, Joyce and Jennifer's brother Logan arrived. The condo felt frozen, a damp shower, a t-shirt on the floor, clothes ready for work. Essentials gone, Jennifer missing. Joyce searched every room, calling her daughter's name, hoping for an answer. Drew paced the parking lot, scanning each car, each window. He would later say that it was like she vanished into thin air. By late afternoon, the Kesse family called Orlando police. The day's routine had shattered, replaced by a growing sense of crisis. On the morning of January 6th, the tenant at Huntington on the Green noticed a black Chevy Malibu parked in a visitor spot, its windows gathering dust after 2 days untouched. The car stood out. It had not moved since Tuesday, and by Thursday the local news was already filled with Jennifer Kesse's face. The tenant made the call, and within the hour, Orlando police arrived to confirm what the family feared. This was Jennifer's missing car, left behind at an apartment complex a 1.5 miles from her home. The location itself raised questions. Huntington on the Green was not near Jennifer's usual routes. It was a maze of buildings and parking lots, a place she had no known connection to. Whoever left the car here seemed to know the area, or at least wanted it hidden in plain sight. Forensic technicians began their work methodically. The Malibu's doors were unlocked. Inside, nothing looked out of place at first glance. Jennifer's work badge and an iPod charger sat on the seat, untouched, but her purse, phone and keys were gone. The car's mirrors and driver's seat were adjusted away from Jennifer's typical settings, suggesting someone else had driven it last. There were no obvious signs of a struggle, no blood, no fingerprints that could be immediately tied to a suspect. Whoever abandoned the car had wiped it down, careful to leave almost nothing behind. Police documented every detail, collecting fibres, swabbing for DNA and logging the missing items. The car itself became the first real clue, a silent witness, offering a direction for the search. Investigators turned next to the surveillance cameras, hoping they might finally reveal who had walked away from Jennifer's life. The security footage from Huntington on the Green seemed like the break everyone was waiting for. On January 24th, just hours after Jennifer vanished, a camera caught someone parking her black Chevy Malibu in a visitor spot. The recording system was old. There was no video, just a series of still images snapped every 3 seconds. For about half a minute, the person moved around Jennifer's car, wiping the door handle and the trunk, then stepped away with a steady, unhurried stride. But in every single frame, a black metal fence sliced through the shot, its posts perfectly aligned with the suspect's face. It did not matter if the person leaned forward, turned, or walked back toward the sidewalk. Each time, the fence blocked any clear view. The footage revealed the build, somewhere between 5 feet 3 inches and 5 feet 8 inches. A medium frame, light skin, a loose tan shirt, dark pants, and a cap pulled low. The way the person walked, the way they moved, analysts studied it all, hoping for a clue. But the one thing everyone needed most, a face, was missing. Investigators and family members pored over the images, frame by frame, measuring stride, posture, even the angle of the elbows. FBI and NASA specialists enhanced the images, but nothing broke through the barrier. The fence, the timing, the 3-second intervals. It was as if chance itself had conspired to keep the suspect anonymous. The footage offered proof that someone else had been in Jennifer's car, had parked it, had walked away. But it also delivered an agonizing dead end. The person in the images remained a ghost, both present and unreachable, leaving detectives and Jennifer's family with more questions than answers. Orlando police launched a wide-ranging search as soon as Jennifer was declared missing. Officers went door to door at the Mosaic complex and surrounding neighborhoods, checking every hallway, stairwell and parking lot. Search teams on horseback combed nearby wooded areas, while helicopters scanned from above and divers checked retention ponds. The scope was massive, but early efforts ran into a problem. The area around Jennifer's condo was a construction zone, with dozens of workers coming and going each day. Many were day labourers, hired off the books with no records or consistent schedules. Detective Joel Wright, who would later oversee the case, described the challenge of tracking down men who might have only worked 1 or 2 shifts before moving on. Police interviewed as many workers as they could, but the rapid turnover meant names and faces slipped through the cracks. The investigation had leads, but the sheer number of possibilities made every answer feel out of reach. Every theory about Jennifer Kesse's disappearance seems to fit some of the evidence, but not all of it. If this was a crime of opportunity, the person responsible would have had only minutes to act. Yet the car was parked so precisely, wiped down, and left in a location that suggests planning. Some believe Jennifer was targeted by someone who watched her routine, maybe a worker or a neighbour who blended into the background. Others argue it could have been a stranger, someone passing through the construction zone who saw a chance and took it. The person in the surveillance images moves with steady purpose, never rushing, never looking over their shoulder. That calm, almost practiced behaviour raises questions. Was this someone who knew Jennifer, or just someone who knew how to avoid being seen? The evidence leaves room for both possibilities, and neither feels complete. Somewhere, someone still holds the answer to Jennifer Kesse's fate. The questions linger, sharper now in an age where cameras watch but justice slips through the cracks. In that silence, the mystery endures, and so does hope. What do you think happened to Jennifer Kesse?